If you have felt unwelcome in Las Vegas lately, that nagging feeling of betrayal is not just in your head. It is not that you have gotten poor. It is that the rules of the game have been completely rewritten. Las Vegas is quietly conducting a purge. No guns, no violence, just a cold, systematic removal of the very people who built this city's reputation. The city that was founded on the promise of a fair shot for everyone is now actively erasing its middle-class roots. In just 1 year from 2024 to 2025, visitor numbers did not just dip, they free fell, from 41.7 million to 39.1 million. That is a nearly 11% drop, a catastrophic number in any other industry. But did the casinos and the LVCVA panic? Did they lower resort fees or bring back value meals? No, they did the exact opposite. They jacked up prices and tightened the slots. First quarter data from 2025 shows gaming revenue skyrocketing by 22.4%. Even as foot traffic collapsed, the message is crystal clear. They are perfectly fine with fewer people, as long as they can squeeze every last dime out of the ones who remain. They are trading volume for extraction. The corporate boards have decided to cut loose the customers they now deem low value. So what is left of this city after it sells its soul to the highest bidder? Today we are exposing the four specific groups that Vegas has officially blacklisted. And I guarantee you, by the time we get to the final group, you are going to realize they are not just targeting strangers. They are targeting you. If you want the truth that the neon billboards will not tell you, consider subscribing. Let us look at who did not make the cut. Let us start with the first group to realize the math no longer adds up. The international tourist. If you walked the Strip 20 years ago, it felt like the crossroads of the world. You would hear German, Portuguese, and Japanese on every corner, because Vegas was the best value vacation on earth. But today, those voices are disappearing. The welcome mat has been replaced by a bill for hidden fees. The culprit is not just airfare, it is the relentless nickel and diming once you land. Look at the resort fees, the most hated charge in hospitality. In 2025 alone, these fees jumped another 11%. At the Wynn, you are looking at $56.69 a night. At the Aria, it is over $62 a night after tax. That is not for service. That is a mandatory tax, just to access the room you already paid for. For travelers coming from Europe, the math is brutal. Between $200 nightly rates, resort fees, and overpriced dining, a standard 3 to 4 day trip now easily hits $1,500 to $2,500 per person. And for what? To play at tables where $25 is the new minimum? And the complimentary drinks have dried up? We are seeing a massive shift. Middle-class visitors from Mexico, who used to flock here for shopping and entertainment, are now finding better value closer to home, because the resort fee alone is enough to cover a week's worth of groceries for a family. That is insulting. Tourists from China, Japan, and Korea look at the bill and realize they are being treated as ATMs, not guests. They are taking their money elsewhere. International tourists are not stupid. They look at that price tag. They realize they can get a week at an all-inclusive resort or a cultural trip within Europe for the same money, without the feeling of being scammed by hidden charges. But here is the cynical truth. Vegas does not care. This is a calculated strategy called premiumization. The corporations have decided they do not need a full house anymore. They just need a rich house. The data proves it. In June 2025, visitor volume crashed by 11.3%, yet gaming revenue actually ticked up by 3.5%. Think about that. They lost more than 1 in 10 customers and still made more money. They have successfully engineered a system where they can extract more profit from fewer people. They have traded the budget-conscious global traveler for the high-yield domestic spender. They are turning the city into a gated community for the wealthy. But while the loss of overseas visitors is bad, there is a far more dangerous silence. For decades, one loyal group drove down by the millions to keep the city alive during the slow seasons. Now even they have stopped coming. And when you lose your closest neighbor, you know the neighborhood is truly in trouble. For over 40 years, Canadians were the unseen backbone of the Las Vegas economy. They were not just tourists, they were neighbors. When the summer heat scared everyone else away, or when recession hit the United States, Canadians kept coming. They drove down Interstate 15 by the thousands. They were escaping the winter, filling the budget rooms, and keeping the lights on, downtown and on the Strip. They loved Vegas because it respected the value of a dollar. It was an affordable escape. But corporate Vegas has decided they do not want affordable anymore. And they certainly do not want budget travelers occupying their rooms. The exchange rate has always been tough for Canadians, usually around 30 to 35%. In the past, casinos understood this. They offered at par deals, deep discounts on rooms and cheap buffets to balance out the weak Canadian dollar. It was a handshake deal. You make the long drive. We make it worth your while. That deal is dead. Today, when a Canadian family looks at a trip to Vegas, they are not just fighting the currency exchange. They are fighting a system designed to bankrupt them. Let us do the math that every Canadian snowbird is doing right now. A simple $100 dinner on the Strip does not cost them $100. First, add the 8.38% sales tax. Then add a 20% tip because service wages are stagnant. Now convert that to Canadian dollars. That mediocre $100 meal just costs them nearly $185. And that is before the hotel bill. When you slap a 50 United States dollar resort fee on a room, that is nearly 70 Canadian dollars just for the privilege of having a key card. For a Canadian retiree on a fixed pension, that is not a vacation. That is financial irresponsibility. So where did they go? They did not stop traveling. They just stopped coming here. They turned their cars toward Arizona or Florida. There they can rent a condo for a month for the price of a week in Vegas. Or they fly to Mexico and the Dominican Republic, where their dollar goes further and the drinks are actually free. Vegas broke the unwritten contract with its most loyal neighbor. They bet that the allure of the Vegas brand was strong enough to make people ignore the bad math. They were wrong. You cannot treat your most loyal friends like suckers and expect them to show up for the party. But if losing the international crowd and the neighbors is painful, what they have done to the next group is a tragedy. This is not just about economics. It is about destroying the very soul of the American family road trip. But the most tragic casualty is not the international tourist or the Canadian snowbird. It is the very soul of the city, the casual American gambler. For decades, the deal was simple. You did not need to be a whale to be treated like a king. A school teacher from Ohio or a mechanic from Texas could fly in with a $500 bankroll. They could play $5 blackjack for hours, get free drinks, maybe a comped buffet, and go home feeling like a winner, even if they lost it all. That was the magic. You paid for the entertainment, and the casino respected your time. That respect is gone. It has been replaced by a mathematical aggressiveness that is frankly predatory. Let us look at the tables. If you sat down at a roulette wheel in the 90s, you saw two green zeros. The house edge was 5.26%. It was tough, but fair. Today, walk into almost any strip property and you will see the 000 wheel. They added a third green slot. They often disguise it with a logo, like the Sands or Venetian emblem, to make it look special. It is not special, it is theft. That one extra slot pushes the house edge to 7.69%. That is worse than almost any slot machine on the floor. They are literally taxing your nostalgia. And then there is Blackjack. This is the single biggest insult to the American player. Standard Blackjack pays 3 to 2. You bet $10, you get a Blackjack. You win $15. Simple. But walk the Strip today. Look closely at the felt on the low-limit tables. It says Blackjack pays 6 to 5. It sounds like a small change. It is not. On a $10 bet, a Blackjack now pays you $12 instead of $15. They are stealing $3 from you every time you hit the best hand in the game. This rule change alone increases the house advantage by nearly 400% against the casual player. And the worst part, if you want a fair 3 to 2 game, you can find one. But only in the high-limit room. where the minimum bet is $50 or $100 a hand. The message is loud and clear. If you are not rich, you do not deserve fair odds. The $5 table is extinct. The $10 table is an endangered species. On a Saturday night at the Bellagio or Caesars, you are lucky to find a seat for under $25. So the casual gambler, the couple celebrating their 30th anniversary, the guys on a weekend trip, they wander the floor, priced out of the tables. They sit at a slot machine, they order a drink, and wait, because the monitoring systems on the machines now track how much you bet before authorizing a free drink. You are not a guest anymore. You are data entry in a spreadsheet. The casinos have forgotten that these low-value customers were the ones who created the atmosphere. They brought the energy, the noise, the life. Without them, these billion-dollar resorts are just quiet, expensive shopping malls with slot machines. But if pushing away the casual gambler was a mistake, what they are doing to the next group, the high rollers themselves, is a sign of sheer incompetence. You would think, after kicking out the little guy to focus on the whales, they would treat the big spenders perfectly. You would be wrong. But the deepest betrayal is not found at the blackjack table. To understand the structural collapse of the Las Vegas economy, we have to look at the death of the deal. And to do that, we need to analyze the vacation of a typical couple. Let us call them the Millers. They are retired. They decided to come back from Wisconsin to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. They book a room online for $79. This looks like a classic Vegas bargain. But this is the first trap in what economists call drip pricing. The advertised low rate is just bait. The moment they reach the front desk, the trap snaps shut. The clerk informs them of a mandatory $50 per night resort fee. This is a fee for amenities they did not ask for. Wi-Fi, gym access, a local newspaper. But they are forced to buy. Psychologically, this is devastating. Even before they unpack, the trust is gone. They no longer feel like guests. They feel like targets. But the real pain hits when they get hungry. Trapped on the property without a rental car because parking is now $25 a day, the Millers head to the food court. Not a fancy steakhouse. Just a simple lunch at a counter, 2 slices of pizza and 2 sodas. The total comes to $48. This constant nickel and diming creates a low-level anxiety that lasts the entire trip. Instead of relaxing, the Millers are on guard, constantly calculating, constantly feeling like they are being tricked. The joy of the vacation dissolves, replaced by defensive cynicism. So the Millers go home, and they tell their friends, "Do not bother, it is not fun anymore. It is just a shakedown." This is the moment that breaks the spirit of the middle-class traveler. Do you see yourself in that story? It is all just a memory now. The current Vegas is far harsher than your honeymoon trip 30 years ago. And here is the critical misunderstanding. The Millers and millions like them are not leaving Las Vegas because they ran out of money. They have money. They could afford a $48 pizza if they wanted to. They are leaving because they refuse to be insulted. They realize that Vegas is no longer a hospitality industry. It is an extraction industry, and the value proposition has become a value trap. The casinos know families like the Millers are trapped on the property, so they apply monopoly pricing to basic necessities, essentially holding their wallets hostage. The corporations made a calculated decision. It is more profitable to harvest fees than to earn loyalty. They are mining customers, not hosting them. It is a violation of dignity. So this class of people, betrayed by Vegas itself, is taking their retirement savings to cruise ships, to all-inclusive resorts in Mexico, or to regional casinos in the Midwest. They are going to places where the prices are transparent, the rules are clear, and respect is guaranteed. This brings us to the new reality of the Las Vegas Strip. Walk through a major resort casino on a Tuesday afternoon in 2026. It is cleaner than it was in the 1990s. It is more luxurious. But listen closely. It is quiet. The chaotic, electric energy of the crowds is gone. The corporations have successfully engineered a pivot from volume to yield. But in doing so, they have severed the 4 pillars that held the city up. Vegas did not lose these customers by accident. It pushed them out with fees, traps, and gimmicks. that no self-respecting customer would accept. It traded the loyalty of the millions who built the city for the wallets of the few who do not care about the price tag. The result is a hollow victory. Revenue is up, but the soul of the city is gone. It has become a sterile, high-end extraction machine, a city of rich ghosts, where the lights are brighter than ever, but there is nobody home to enjoy them. If you are one of the millions who remember what this town used to be, do not feel bad about not going back. You did not leave Las Vegas. Las Vegas left you. If you agree that it is time to speak the truth about what is happening here, please subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments below. What was the specific moment, the exact fee or rule change that finally made you say, enough is enough? I read every story. Thanks for watching.